The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, go Cowboys! This is Mick Shots.
Streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app.
It's time for another edition of Mick Shots. Bill Jones, Savannah Hugh Moeller, and Mickey Spagnola and the Zamboni join you live from Oxnard, California, the corner of Ventura and Vintage. And what a vintage day this is here in Southern California.
This is going to be a great day. It's already warmed up. The sun's out. There's no marine later. This is going to be the hottest day of training camp.
It is, and we're going to start off the show with a Savannah sighting this morning on this bright, sunshiny day. Savannah, what did you see this morning?
Just early this morning, I spotted the one and only Mickey Spagnola in the breakfast room over for his Cheerios.
It's the most cumbersome container you've ever dealt with.
Hey, you know what? It's Friday. We can only go up from here. You were off to a slow start this morning with the Cheerios, but we're back.
My cup runneth over.
So how many Cheerios were wasted on the floor?
A half a bowl. No, not on the floor, on the counter.
So did you scoop them up
Yes.
and put them back in your bowl, or did you put them back in the
I
Cheerios
put them in
container?
a separate bowl, but I was taken in my room and I ate both bowls. Can't waste.
The breakfast of champions.
That's right. And they were good, too.
I bet they were.
Well, he got a workout in, so he had to make sure he got his breakfast in after.
There's this container like this, and it's this way,
Well,
and you push the back lid, and it opens up this way, and then you got to pour. Well, the thing was just chock full. And so when I turned it over,
it just exploded on you.
Exploded and happened.
And then you've got so many Cheerios in your bowl that when you pour the milk on it, it won't even go inside
That's why
the
I
bowl.
used
It just
two bowls.
surfs outside the
I
bowl,
used
and
two
then you made a
bowls.
mess with the milk
and
too.
no one would have said anything, but Savannah was standing there laughing.
Hey, I asked if you were good, if you needed help there, but you had it all together, so we're fine.
So there
That's
it
right.
is, the first Savannah sighting of this beautiful Friday here in Oxnard.
Could almost gone short sleeves this morning, huh?
I am
Really
in short
good.
sleeves.
Yeah, that's good.
What's the headline of the day? What do you think? What
Ah.
is the headline of the day?
I think one of them.
And then I'll tell you what really is the headline.
Well,
of the day.
you got to talk to Dak. Is that right?
I did, yeah.
See, we didn't get to do that.
Yeah, we need all the details, Bill.
We got Micah Parsons, Mike Zimmer, Brian Schottenheimer,
Oh,
and
I tell you got a lot
John
more out of
Fossil.
Micah than any of us got out of Dak.
I feel like there's a few headlines. I'm going to start with we have 2 edge rushers that were added.
Okay,
So
all right, we'll dive into that on the show.
we
will
got
dive
a lecture on the new kickoff rule from
Yes,
John Fossil.
that's right, yep.
Which was very informative. And we saw it somewhat in action last night. Neither team wanted to show exactly what they might do during the games. And then, Micah Parsons, he went on and on and on, talking about how he's going to be used in multiple different ways.
Okay, we'll get into all of that.
So those are the headlines.
But here is the true headline
All right.
of the day. A federal judge has overturned the $4.7 billion NFL Sunday ticket verdict. It takes the NFL off the hook for enormous damages. And let me tell you, that is a win for Jerry Jones. It's a win for the contract negotiations between the Cowboys
he doesn't have
and
to
CeeDee
worry
Lamb
about
and Dak Prescott. To win for the players. That's right. So, Producer Supreme, you can't hear him over the Zamboni, but Producer Supreme over there is
yell at him
proclaiming
to
a
go down
win
to
for the
the other
players
end?
on that.
Well, it won't affect the salary cap, right? The way they were worried.
And that's exactly what last Saturday morning, Jerry, when we cornered him after he was signing autographs after the welcome ceremony here, the opening ceremony of camp, that was one of the things that was definitely on his mind. And here we go.
So does that mean by tomorrow for the unofficial blue-white scrimmage that CeeDee Lamb will be signed because now they don't have to worry about losing billions of dollars?
Well,
We hope so.
we'll have to ask Jerry.
We'll see.
That'll be the question for Jerry.
All right.
We corner him today.
Well, I wanted to ask you.
I think it is. I think it's. I
is-
mean, just from the sounds of things, and if you just look at the lay of the land and the quarterback signings around the league, going back to last Friday when Tua signed, when Jordan Love signed, those two were the last two quarterbacks other than Dak who were incumbent starting quarterbacks who were going into the last year or of their contract.
Right.
And now Dak is the only one in the league, an incumbent starting quarterback going into the last year of his contract. So all those leaves have fallen, and now this huge leaf has fallen.
Okay, so you got to talk to Dak. Was it yesterday?
Yesterday we did,
Yesterday?
yeah.
How'd that go?
It went well. I mean, as well as it can in 4 minutes.
Well, what'd you talk
we
about?
we get 4 minutes to talk. Okay.
What was your first question? He
All
doesn't
right.
remember.
No. It wasn't really I like to have a discussion. I
Okay.
don't like. I
I'm
don't
with
like
you.
to be I don't like
The
for
art
it to
of
be an
interviewing.
interrogation. I
Right.
like for it to be more of a conversation. Okay, so it was a conversation with Dak, and so I asked him off the top, "Will you do me a favor? I'm going to say 3, 2, 1, and you say, 'Here we go!'"
You wanted to, here we go.
And so,
Cut, right?
And so I said, "Okay, here we go." And I always say, "Here we go" now. I mean, I probably said it before all the time too. So I said, "All right, here we go, 3, 2, 1," and he said, "Here we go." And so we talked about "Here we go" right off the top.
Okay.
That's buttering up.
That's a good
your-
start.
yeah.
That's a good start to it.
You know, it is interesting because in my research on "Here We Go," and this led to my second question. I stumbled across an interview that Aaron Rodgers did on the Pat McAfee show last December, and they were talking to him about the cadence and the rhythmic cadence. And there's much more to this "Here We Go," and Dak has talked about it a little bit, but hadn't gone into the specifics.
As
that
I
Aaron did.
uncovered last year, by the way.
Okay,
Mickey
so
was-
what
yes,
is your
he
take
opened
on
up
the
that
whole
can of
"Here
worms."
We Go" then?
So
And then I'll tell you what Aaron Rodgers has to say about it.
it was to get everybody on the offensive line to shut up, quit talking,
Right.
and now we're getting ready to start the cadence for the snap count.
That's right.
And Dak was unsure of how it started with "Here We Go," and Biotish came walking by very conveniently, and he goes, "Biotish," he goes, "how do we get going on "Here We Go"?" And he said, "I think we were trying to get everybody's attention, and you just said 'Here we go,' and then it
And
stuck."
then it was interesting, though, hearing Aaron Rodgers talk about it, because he talked about the rhythmic cadence and how important that is. You know, Aaron Rodgers has a reputation in his career of being able to draw the defense off sides.
Right.
And we hear it out here on the practice field where there's different emphasis on the "here we go" or "here we go," whatever. And it's there's a lot more to it than meets the eye, I think,
Right.
or meets the ear in this case. So he was asked about that, and then he was asked about, and then he just brought up on his own. He said, before I talk about the cadence, let me say this about Dak Prescott. In my idle time, I've been sitting here. I've watched a lot of Cowboys games. I've watched 4 or 5 Cowboys games, and let me tell you, I am so impressed with the way Dak Prescott is running that offense. And he was talking not about how he was throwing the ball or anything like that, but his command of the offense at the line of scrimmage, everything that he was doing. And I thought it was very interesting because if anyone knows a Mike McCarthy offense, Aaron Rodgers would. And so that led me to the next question to Dak, is how much he has grown in the last year. And the results are obvious on the field. I mean, he was second in the MVP voting and led the league in touchdown passes. But I think the growth that Dak has had has a lot to do. And Aaron Rodgers was one of the first to point it out, the nuances of playing the quarterback position and how Dak is now conducting a master class in it.
And I think we saw evidence of that in Wednesday's practice. So after our show, he was red hot in that practice, fitting passes into really tight slots, touchdown passes, 2-minute drill, red zone. I thought that was that was his best practice of training camp, and one of the best practices I think I've seen, with just spotting stuff and fitting balls into tight situations. He was really good on Wednesday.
So anyway, that's where we got started, and by that point, I'm now 2.5 minutes into a 4-minute interview.
You got one question left if he gives you a long answer.
And so we talked about Zeke, we talked about MJ, and do you know when MJ was born? It's February. He got reported out there that she is a leap year baby, February 29th. But the actual date's February 22nd.
22nd?
Yes.
Okay.
February 22nd was when MJ was born.
Been aware of either of those.
Yeah. And so then I basically concluded asking if he hopes that MJ grows up a Cowboys fan.
And what did he say?
See, I'm not going to pressure him. Her, I should say.
I think he did say that'd be nice. And then he actually went on to another question. I asked him about the TikTok followers for Josh Bell, but I asked him to close. I asked him, okay, who do you think has the most followers on social media on the team? I think he said Zeke or CD, and so I then informed him about Josh Butler and his 3.3 million followers. But it was funny on the MJ when I asked him about MJ. As I was going into the next question, he smiled. He knew exactly where I was going with that.
Oh, I love that.
He should have said,
great.
well, I don't know. Depends who I'm playing for. Well, speaking of Josh Butler, do we have an expert on Josh Butler here?
We have a new expert on Josh Butler. Bill already spent his time with Josh, but I got to chat with him the other night. And, gosh, he just has this confidence about him that's both off the field with everything that he does. He acts, he sings, he has TikTok, the dogs. But on the field, I asked him how he portrays that confidence when he plays football, and he just said, football is my #1 priority. I'm here to play the game. And we've seen it out here at practice. He was taking a lot of snaps throughout practice the other day, and you could really just see how he was working with the defense and just different scenarios. I mean, he was on the field majority of the day, just really getting some snaps in there. So I like seeing that chance that he has to keep moving forward. I think that they're keeping their eye on Josh Butler a lot.
And to that point about what he's doing outside of football, well, I think it's a credit to him what he did outside of football, because when he wasn't playing football, he embarked on his career. Mm-hmm. He's got a master's degree from Michigan State. I think it's in television entertainment, and he's starting to master that with 3.3 million followers, and he hadn't posted that much since, as far as his football career, maybe in the off season or whatever. But that if he plays and if he actually gets some time out here and then he starts posting stuff and he has a bad game, then people will say, oh, he's spending too much time doing that. And
well, he just wants to make $3.3 million.
That's right. 27 years old, and so he's late to the party, but and we talked the other day about his athleticism, and he's got height, he's got speed. I think he ran a 4.32, and he's shown it out here on the field so far.
I think it's a budding story at the cornerback position. I mean, we know the top three, right? And then the two guys that are really stepping up, Josh Butler and Kalen Carson.
Yes.
I think both of those two guys are really making a push to be the fourth and fifth cornerbacks, which I think is up for grabs right now. Somebody might beat out Nashawn Wright. Eric Scott's got to get going. I think those two guys right now, which brings up the Cowboys' draft choices, because with Carson, I think that he certainly has made an impression. Obviously, Guyton has made an impression. I was talking to Stephen Jones yesterday, and we had been talking about the Sam Williams injury, and Savannah brought up that they did sign two guys. We can get into that. And Steven said, you know, when they got to that second round pick, they were looking at a bunch of different guys, and they decided on Nealon. And he said, now what happened to Sam? Thank God we drafted Nealon, because right now he's got to step up and be a starter. There's nobody else. And even though they signed these two guys, they're just kind of guys right now. So Nealon's going to get every chance to win that starting job next to DeMarcus Lawrence.
So we want to identify who these two guys are.
Yes,
I can do it
if you want to pronounce the first guy's
Al-Quadin Muhammad.
Al-Quadin
Muhammad. He was a 6th round for the Saints back in 2016, and then hopefully I pronounced this correctly. Shaka Tony, 7th round for the Commanders in 2021.
And he went to Penn State. Was a teammate of Micah Parsons in college at Penn State. Tony was with Washington. He's got a sack and a half in his limited time in the league, and it's interesting on Al-Quadin Muhammad. He went to Miami. He has 12 sacks in his career. Number of starts, I don't have it in front of me, but he did not get on the field last year. He was on the Colts practice squad. I think he had 4 sacks 2 years ago.
Yeah,
he's jumped around a little bit with Chicago then, and then Indianapolis before that, and then back to Indianapolis. But he's out of the U, and interestingly, he was suspended December 6th of last year, got a 6-game suspension for PEDs.
And he's got one
more game to go on that.
Which, by the way, both guys were suspended because Tony got indefinitely suspended for gambling.
Okay.
And he got reinstated, and then I believe it was Washington let him go. But the Cowboys' new defensive line coach, Jeff Scanina, had him in Washington, so he was familiar with Tony.
There you go. Well, that says a lot right there.
Right?
Absolutely.
If you've worked with a player, and it was April 27th, is right around the draft, is when Washington let him go.
Yeah.
So it probably coincided with someone that they picked in the draft.
Right, and the fact that his indefinite suspension was lifted, and then I think the next day they let him go. He only had 1 start in 26 games, a sack and a half, 3 quarterback hits.
And even on Al-Quadin Muhammad, we don't know. I haven't looked back to see if he got hurt the year before, and he may have been rehabbing throughout the season. That might have been a reason why he wasn't getting on the field last year, and maybe he's healthy now.
Right, and then maybe that's why the PEDs, too. He maybe was trying to get back on the field. So, interesting.
So we're going to take a break here in just a second, Mickey, if you'd like to tease what we're going to come back and talk about.
Micah Parsons.
All right. Let's talk Micah, because he loves to talk, and we love to talk about Micah when we come back in a moment.
Miller Lite is brewed with great taste and only great taste.
The Miller Brewing Company would like to issue a correction. Miller Lite is brewed to be less filling. What are you doing here?
Miller Lite tastes great.
Look, I'm just reading the script. It says less filling.
That's not what my script says.
Well, mine says.
We'd like to apologize for the previous announcers. Miller Lite is in fact less filling and tastes great. Time to shine, legal guy.
Celebrate responsibly. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Beer. 96 calories and 3.2 grams carbs per 12 ounces. Fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer.
Fall is here, and that means football is back, bringing all the delicious game day foods with it. As you prep for all the big games, tailgates, and watch parties, let Yo Quiero be your one-stop destination for all things home gating. Yo Quiero's fresh, flavorful, ready-to-serve guacamole, made with real Hass avocados, will score taste bud touchdowns as you cheer on the Cowboys. Yo Quiero's wide range of mouth-watering and versatile products can be found in your local grocery store's produce or deli section. Grab some today.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
And they snap it to Prescott, who looks right. It's not there. He escapes left. He'll run for a first down.
Just like football, when it comes to crypto, it's important to have a team you can trust. With blockchain.com, I know I'm in good hands. Since 2011, they've been trusted by millions around the world to buy, sell, and trade cryptocurrency.
Prescott's going to run this himself. Run it up the middle, and he scores.
Whether you're new to crypto or an active trader, they've got you covered. What are you waiting for? Get started at blockchain.com.
Back to Mick Shots.
The official 2024 Dallas Cowboys Star Magazine training camp preview is now available. This year's edition features scouting reports, position analysis, a pull-out schedule poster, and articles from your favorite Cowboys writers. Get your training camp preview today at your local pro shop or DallasCowboys.com/star. Now, Bill and I had a very interesting
This was another Savannah sighting.
On Wednesday. Bill and I were happened to watch the running backs go through the gauntlet,
which is a baseball bat machine.
Yes, we were
baseball bat machine,
basically, and we're just watching them get going here. And of course, the first one out of the gate is Zeke, and I'll let Bill take it from here.
Well, gate was the right word there, because it's designed to protect the footballs that you're carrying, and they're carrying 2 footballs through the gauntlet.
Yes. Okay. I got an idea where this is going, but go ahead.
So you want to protect the footballs, but you also, as you go through the gate, you want to make sure, you need knees high. And let's just say
I knew where this is going. I've seen it many times.
And so
go ahead.
Let's just say that Zeke didn't quite get his knees up on the first time through.
He did a good job of protecting the footballs.
Right, exactly. And so anyway, he was sort of.
I saw. So that's why he bent over.
Yes, he let out a shriek. And there may or may not have been something that was said by him that I'm not going to post myself on X. So we bleeped it out just to make sure later in the day.
Oh, you picked up the audio?
Oh, yeah. I was the only one that had video.
Bill was the only one that filmed it, and I'm standing next to Bill, and we're watching Zeke
I'm not going to
trying to get his breath back together.
So I saw the end of it. When he went to the side and he bent over.
Yeah.
And I said, he can't be tired already.
Well, here's the deal. So I'm glad you brought it up, Savannah, because it needs to be clarified that because there's, of course, especially when you post anything about Zeke, okay, people are looking, okay, and Zeke, I have no idea why, but Zeke has his detractors out there. And so people think that he's gassed. He went through one drill and he's gassed. No, he wasn't gassed.
It was not that. No, not in the slightest.
And by the way, he successfully made it through the next time. And by the way, also, if you look at how he goes through the baseball bat gauntlet and then you compare it to other running backs, you can see why Zeke is a power back in this league. Because you can really see on that drill how he powers through a hole where other running backs don't have that same kind of power.
You could hear
just the explosiveness.
Right. You could hear those bats.
That's right. So I didn't post the first one, the painful one, but I did post the second one, and I said after a very painful first trip through the baseball bats, use your imagination as to what part of the anatomy was affected, Zeke sails through the second time with both balls still intact.
Very good. So, yeah. So, is that not legal now to be able to post when you see something like that in practice?
No, you can.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
Well, I thought they said no more posting live video from practice.
I think that was a one-day deal.
That didn't count?
That was a mock game day.
Oh,
yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Which I've never posted anything.
So you mentioned detractors.
Yes.
And somebody asked, somehow Micah got onto the detractors, and he said,
that was a good segue.
Yes,
there,
it
Mickey,
was.
into Micah.
All right.
And he said, you know what? When you got the star on your helmet, you earn detractors. Meaning you play for the Cowboys, and then everybody's paying attention, so now everybody's got something to say. So that was one of the many things.
How long did Micah go in his press conference yesterday? I got the answer if you don't have it.
I'm going to guess 20 minutes.
29 minutes.
29.
29
That's
minutes.
very impressive.
Let me tell you, he went right off the practice field to there.
Yes.
We went right off the practice field to go to do our 4-minute interview with Dak. Now, we had to wait around a little bit because it happened so quickly. Photographers weren't set up, whatever. I'll go over there to interview Dak, and I came back, and Micah is still talking over here. And it went 29 minutes. So I want to hear what Micah had to say.
Somebody asked him who's the most memorable person he's met. And, you know, he's met a lot of people, right? And he goes, I met a lot of famous people, but my favorite was Kevin Durant.
Really?
And he said he was just a little bit different from everybody else.
Producer Supreme is mentioning that he met Kevin Durant at the White Party, which is hosted, I think, in the Hamptons.
That's what the question was. You went to the White Party. Who was the guy you met there?
Oh, I thought they asked him who was the most memorable person.
Fanatics.
Okay.
Michael Rubin, I think it's his White Party, and I guess Micah was there. Kevin Durant, they had some type of encounter. So I guess there you go. There you have it.
He said he was just a little bit more different than everybody else, sort of like myself. And he called him the Slim Reaper.
Yeah, I like that.
That's
right?
funny.
Yeah. And I have to paraphrase this, and this was the quote. He goes, "I love that stuff because it's like myself." Just
I'd
like
love
that.
to hear what I'm mentioning this because Kevin Durant was watching the gymnastics. They showed him, and the basketball team was watching the gymnastics yesterday. And Simone Biles. I'd love to hear Micah, his thoughts on Simone Biles. Man.
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable talent.
I just can't believe
how about that vertical?
How high she can get. That's just ridiculous.
And to even mention her age, she's one of the, she's 27 years old, but that is very old as far as
like
gymnasts
Tom Brady,
go.
45-year-old in gymnastics.
Yeah, she set that record as far as age goes with winning that gold medal.
Those guys
for that group.
Those guys basically, I saw somebody tweeted out there's no doubt she could dunk a basketball at 4'10",
4'8", or
4'8", whatever she is. Yeah, I mean, and just to do it at that level in that situation. On that final floor exercise and as high as she gets, it's incredible.
Now she's okay, so that was the all-around, and now she's in other individual apparatus the next few days, and then her husband, Jonathan Owens, who plays for the Chicago Bears, is there.
Yeah, I think he's on his way back.
He's got to be. I was going to say, surely he's not staying there for 2 weeks.
Yeah, they let him go for a little bit.
He stayed for the all-around, and the fact that she can do a flip on to the vault and then do 3 in the air before she lands, that's unhuman. It's inhuman.
Mm-hmm.
Can't do that.
Well, her mini docu-series is on Netflix. It's 2 episodes if you haven't watched it. So you guys can go see more of her story. You watched it?
Yes, I did.
Very good.
It was very good. Yeah. They followed her around, and it was, it was really, really good. But, yeah, that was amazing. And then they asked, and then Micah said, but the person he wants to meet is Denzel Washington.
Mm.
So that was a little off football. He was very good about talking about what Mike Zimmer wants him to do, and it's basically everything. He's talking about how he's going to make him better because – he's going to play all these different positions, meaning linebacker, but lined up different spots, defensive end, and that you're sort of forced to learn what everybody else is supposed to do, which I think that was one of the things Zim impressed on me back during the OTAs when he talked, was about doing what you're supposed to do so other guys can perform what they're supposed to do on that play. Like if you're supposed to loop inside and take up that gap, no matter if the ball's there or you can get to the quarterback, you got to take up the gap so the linebacker knows that he doesn't have to worry about that, and he can go elsewhere to get to the ball.
Okay, what game last year was the most glaring in your mind of playing irresponsibly, especially on the edge? The Arizona game.
I was going to say Buffalo, but
Buffalo, yeah.
But Arizona,
season,
yes,
but Arizona,
and that was early in the season,
and that's
right?
Being gap responsible,
right?
You know, all that
not
stuff.
freelancing.
Yeah, that's right, and I think that's one of the biggest things that Zim. It's a principle in his defense, you know, and why he's talking about knowing what other position groups are, their responsibilities are, so that you're not freelancing and. You know, okay, on this play, I think I can get to the quarterback. Well, and then they run another play, and they run inside you, and they go. Joshua Dobbs goes 45 yards for a touchdown.
Right, and so Zim talked about. See, I think. Well, I don't know. I might be guilty that, you know, to get Micah to do what he's supposed to do, you're going to have a come to Jesus meeting with him, and I know the stubbornness of Zimmer. But it sounds like, you know, they asked Zim about, is he coachable? And he goes, most great players are coachable once they figure out you're trying to make them better. Mm-hmm. And that's generally the best players are coachable. And so Zim said that I'm convinced now that he can play any position on defense.
And to even add on to that, too, Zim talked about how brilliant Micah Parsons is, both off the field and on the field.
Like he understands the game.
Exactly. And Zim has been meeting with Micah daily, as well as Trayvon Diggs, going over the schemes and what teams are going to do to try and come for Micah in the season. And so I think it's really good that Zimmer and Micah are starting to have more of that personal bond, because that's really important as far as the chess piece when you're moving Micah in so many different positions.
That's exactly right. And there's more than one of Trayvon's teammates who have unsolicited said in this camp that Trayvon is a genius when it comes to football. And and you think about it, what the Kansas City Chiefs did on defense last year, okay, and what the Chiefs have had to do, because they're in the same boat that the Cowboys are in, because they're paying so much money to a couple of players on the team, 2 or 3 players making so much money that they have got to get guys, and Steve Spagnuolo has done this on his defense. He's targeted smart guys who can play football, and you saw that in the playoffs last year in going all the way through the Super Bowl. I think that was the hallmark of Spagnuolo's team last year, is how smart they played defensively. I think about the Seattle defense in the secondary, especially when they won the Super Bowl 10 years ago with Richard Sherman and Earl Thomas back there. I mean, that was a cerebral unit. As much as you talk about the Legion of Boom, whatever, but they were smart players back there.
Well, it'll be interesting, and I know we shouldn't assume that Trayvon gets back out there good as new, right, coming back from the torn ACL. Usually it takes some time. I saw one ranking that the Cowboys' secondary was the 5th best in the league.
And then the other ranking.
And then the other ranking on the cornerbacks. And you know what? I looked at a bunch of lists, and his name wasn't very high on any of them. So I don't know if they're looking at what happened last year because he didn't play.
Right.
Yeah, but they may have been basing it on last year, where he only played 2 games.
But that ain't the way the question came out to Trayvon when I think it was Cobb from Channel 4 said there's a list out there, and Trayvon knew exactly where he was going, and he'd go, what it said, like he didn't know what it said. And then he goes, what did it say? And Jeff goes, it said you weren't one of the top 10 cornerbacks in the league. Does that motivate you? And are you eager to prove that you are again? He goes, I'm I feel like I'm in a league of my own. There is nobody that can do what I do. There is nobody that can do what Bland does. I feel like we're in a league of our own, and that's that. We don't care about no list.
Oh, God, I love Trayvon.
All right, but we do care about another break here on Mick Shots, brought to you by Miller Lite. And we're back with more from Oxnard in a moment.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
Miller Lite is brewed with great taste and only great taste.
The Miller Brewing Company would like to issue a correction. Miller Lite is brewed to be less filling. What are you doing here?
Miller Lite tastes great.
Look, I'm just reading the script. It says less filling.
That's not what my script says.
Well, mine said.
We'd like to apologize for the previous announcers. Miller Lite is in fact less filling and tastes great. Time to shine, legal guy.
Celebrate responsibly. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Beer. 96 calories and 3.2 grams carbs per 12 ounces. Fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer.
Fall is here, and that means football is back, bringing all the delicious game day foods with it. As you prep for all the big games, tailgates, and watch parties, let Yo Quiero be your one-stop destination for all things home gating. Yo Quiero's fresh, flavorful, ready-to-serve guacamole, made with real Hass avocados, will score taste bud touchdowns as you cheer on the Cowboys. Yo Quiero's wide range of mouth-watering and versatile products can be found in your local grocery store's produce or deli section. Grab some today.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
And they snap it to Prescott, who looks right. It's not there. He escapes left. He'll run for a first down.
Just like football, when it comes to crypto, it's important to have a team you can trust. With blockchain.com, I know I'm in good hands. Since 2011, they've been trusted by millions around the world to buy, sell, and trade cryptocurrency.
Prescott's going to run this himself. Run it up the middle, and he scores.
Whether you're new to crypto or an active trader, they've got you covered. What are you waiting for? Get started at blockchain.com.
Back to Mick Shots.
Dallas Cowboys youth football and dance camps presented by Invisalign are back. Athletes of all skill levels, ages 6 to 16, are invited to learn from the best this summer at Ford Center at the Star in Frisco. Campers have the chance to learn technical skills and lessons on teamwork from former NFL players and the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. 2 or 3 day camps are available now. Visit dallascowboys.com/camps to learn more and register today.
Before another Savannah sighting, the blue-white practice tomorrow you can watch.
It's televised, right?
Watch practice, yes, televised. You're a part of it, aren't you, Mickey?
I think I'm in the opening segment.
Yep. Save the best for first.
Channel 21?
Channel 21 in Dallas-Fort Worth.
And DallasCowboys.com, maybe?
We've got the practice, and
yes.
We've got... unless this has changed, myself, Kyle Yeomans, Brian Broaddus, Nate Newton are involved, and Mickey Spagnola is involved on the broadcast. It's
going to be a good group
right there. 2-hour
It's
broadcast.
a great show.
It's a warm-up for the preseason game for you guys.
That's right, yeah.
And for us for the pregame show.
That's right. So,
I found another reason why young people walk around with their phones out reading them.
Okay.
Because when you run into somebody, you don't have to say hi. It prevents any social interaction.
At what moment did you realize this?
When I walk back and forth to the chow hall, all the players are doing this, and they never look up.
And
right?
Mickey's going, hey, "How you doing? Yeah, hi."
Because I have now a new habit of staring people down and forcing them to say hi. And you don't know how many people look, and not just players. There's other people in the organization, and they'll act like they're distracted, looking the other way. It's like, is it so hard to say hi?
I know it.
It's amazing.
It is.
God forbid if you get in an elevator.
Yep.
I wouldn't do that to you, Mickey.
It can be you and just one other person walking down a hallway.
Yeah. That was my story.
So that's a Mickey sighting.
And I've told you this before, It was a Monday morning after a loss, and I was coming down the hallway, and Parcells was coming the other way. And your natural reaction is to go, "Hi, Bill, how's it going?" And that's what I said. And he goes, "Not real well." And so from that point on, I remembered to just, "Hi, Bill."
Hi.
Don't ask too much. Don't ask too much.
All right, another
Pretty
Savannah
good.
sighting.
Okay, yesterday I was driving out of the compounds, and I turn over to my left, and I see the entire offensive line swimming in the pool.
Yeah.
And I said, "Are they doing water aerobics?" And come to find out, they were.
They were. And as a matter of fact, when we were shooting my next star shot, we're doing it by the pool up front, by the lobby, and the guys were testing the water because they told them it was a heated pool. And I think somebody put their hand there and goes, "Oh, that's a bunch of BS." But you know what they were doing? They were getting in the hot tub first to warm up before they got in the pool.
Oh, there you go.
And I remember the first time I thought that would work, like on a ski trip, and we were in Snowmass in Colorado. And I said, "Well, we're just going to get in the hot tub, because I hear if you get in the hot tub before you go in the pool, it won't be cold." And it was like, well, that's a bunch of BS, because it was freezing cold in the pool.
You could probably only have 2 of those guys sitting in the hot tub before you can jump in the pool.
They
you
had
can't
about,
fit more than
they had 4.
2.
I think they had 4 in
4?
there. Yeah, well, they weren't sitting; they
Hot
were
tubs
all
are small.
standing. I know.
They're a little small here.
Yeah. Very small.
At our hotel, the pool is heated over there, but my issue is not getting in the pool; it's getting out of the pool.
Right.
You know, it's especially in the evening.
Which I found out in Snowmass.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, this will freeze everything up just getting out.
All right, we got this is padded practice number 3 coming up today. What are we looking for now, as the Cowboys had a mock game yesterday, and so now we got back to the pads on today and tomorrow, and so what are we looking at the next 2 days?
And let's preface this: the 2 new guys, they probably got to go through a ramp up.
Yep.
So we ain't seeing nothing from them till probably Monday at the earliest. You know, I think we keeping our eye on Tyler Guyton to see how he's doing. I think he needs to, become more consistent. I think you see flashes and why I think he can be successful, but then there's other times I think he gets exposed as being a rookie. So keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on Nealon's progress, because they're very serious about him taking over that starting defensive end spot.
I think what I'm looking for is just the slow progression and how they're going to introduce Trayvon Diggs back into everything now that he's off the PUP list, and then we can see, how they're going to slowly implement him. But I'm keeping an eye on what he's working on throughout practice.
Yesterday when they did the walkthrough or mock game, however they call it, he was out there at right cornerback doing and it's a walkthrough, but he was out there with him going through the steps. I noticed that. I noticed Guyton was with the first team offense. And then just kind of keep an eye on these receivers, all these young guys.
So we basically had 3 non-padded, and now there were 4, but 1 was more of a mock.
Well, same thing as,
but it was not,
I got you.
Not full speed.
Right.
And so we basically have had 5 practices so
Right.
far. So who among those wide receivers has stood out to you?
I'm going to have to say Jalen Tolbert. And that's based on the fact the amount of times I've seen him just catch the ball from Dak and their kind of connection. That's what I'm really liking right now is the amount of time
Nate Newton
Dak is going to him.
in the shot.
There's something to be said about that.
Yep.
How about one guy that you probably weren't expecting much from, Tyron Billy Johnson?
He's great. He's great.
T-Billy. He continues to
number 13
show up. He's been all over in his career.
And Shotty yesterday in his press conference mentioned him and in glowing terms. He a guy that has stood out, much like Nate Newton stands out no matter what room he walks into.
I was going to ask Nate what stood out to him, and
he doesn't have a microphone.
I was going to hand him my microphone. And while
Producer Supreme to the
No, I'm just studying. I just wanted to sit down and study. I don't want to be a part of y'all's show. I really don't.
You don't want to help us out, huh?
No,
but this is great though that Nate that you're here because next Monday, just 3 days from now, you're going to be sitting right here.
It's us three.
Because I'm leaving. I'm leaving Monday.
You forced me. You twist my arm. What do you need?
You think you can get here at 8 in the morning?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Oh, yes, I can. Once I say my prayers, I'm up and going.
All right.
Okay, Nate, who is one person you're keeping your eye on in today's practice or someone that's been catching your eye recently?
God, I keep number 51. He's a defensive end.
Darrell Johnson.
Darrell Johnson. He went to work on pass rush 2 days ago. He went to work on our first-round pick. Oh, he went to work on him, and he's been making a few plays here and there. Nobody's really watching him. And I heard y'all bring up Teron, Billy Johnson. The first day I got here, I went to the coaches about him. But this number 51 I've been watching. I talked to Greg Ellis about Darrell Johnson. I don't know why I keep forgetting this kid's name, but he said, Nate, he said he has the body, he has the temperament, but he needs to be more of a student of the game. He needs to learn his position and be able to transfer it to the field. He said he's got talent, and I need for him to make this team, but he's a little bit slow in gathering the information and transferring it to the field. So that's the guy I've been watching the last few days, and it's just a good kid, but and that happened to me coming into the NFL my first time. I wasn't quick on the learning. It wasn't that I was a dummy. I just couldn't gather it quick enough. And time is against him.
So does he, do you think, have the skill set that he could be a sub-package pass rusher on passing downs, whatever, kind of the role that Sam Williams was in the last 2 years?
Yeah, he got a long body. And when you have a long body with long arms, all of this stuff, whether you want to be a run defender, whether you want to be a designated pass rush, all these things are in his future if he can just get it upstairs. Micah Irvin used to preach all the time, and Mick could tell you, and you was around, Bill, but you wasn't, young lady. What's wrong?
Let me know.
Yeah, but I'm sharing with you now. Micah Irvin
exactly.
said, we don't need guys who are smart below the shoulders. And that's what he's saying. If you don't have it up here mentally,
that's right.
You can have to be the greatest athlete in the world, and can't transfer it to the field because you can't think situational football. So that's what we need for this kid to do.
And you know what makes that type of player valuable now is the new kickoff rule, that you got to have some guys that are very, very versatile.
How did I know he was going to try to put that in the show today?
We were supposed to, and we didn't get to it.
That's right. We saw it last night. Wasn't that exciting? The dynamic kickoff was really exciting last night.
What did people think was going to happen? It wasn't. It was to just put a play in the game instead of a touchback. I think people thought people were going to run for touchdowns right away. No one's going to show what they're going to do in preseason games. It's going to be a secret. But when I talk, everybody you talk to now, listen.
I'm going to listen, Mick.
I want you to listen. Everybody you talked to was just sick to their stomach over Sam Williams getting hurt because they were going to do. You know who was the sickest? Was John Fossil. Because even though they were looking at him playing 70% of the defensive snaps, Fossil pointed out because of the new rules on the kickoff.
They were going to use him on an end-around kickoff return like Hollywood Henderson back in the day.
They were going to use him
contributor
in coverage
on special teams
because he's that versatile, a big versatile guy, and in blocking, and as we talked about having somebody tall on the front line that could tip the ball if they hit line drives without touching.
And just a trip down memory lane, Hollywood Henderson had an end-around kickoff return for a touchdown against the Rams, I think in a playoff game, his rookie year, and he spike the ball over, slam dunk the ball over the goalpost. That's what kind of athleticism.
That was before my time,
Mickey,
too.
Are you happy you forced it on us at dinner yesterday to kick off?
That's right.
You forcing it on us now? You was 2 hours late to doing his spot for the national people that pay for these spots because he listened to John Fossil for 2 hours. Are you happy now?
I am.
Okay.
And you want me happy, right?
Yeah, I want you happy.
All right, that does it for this edition of Mick Shots, but the next edition is going to be an Emmy Award winner because Nate Newton is joining the fray on Monday, and I head out of here.
Is he going to take that spot over there?
Whatever.
So
he takes Nate takes whatever spot he wants to take.
No, I'm going to let the young lady stay in the middle, but it was so fun. I want you to move over there.
Is that the captain's chair?
Yeah, it's the captain's chair.
Oh, there you go.
All right.
There you go.
I was going to turn it over to you.
Oh, no, because all I would talk about is John Fossil and how he's going to tell us about the next punt special team session.
Okay, and be sure to catch Nate as well on the blue-white practice tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
That's being televised tomorrow.
That's big time.
Okay, it is big time. All right, we'll see you next time here on Mick Shots.
Go Cowboys!
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!